Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel and to a great question I have heard ever so often. Why do pilots say Roger or Roger that, and what does Wilco mean? This will be the first of a few how to communicate with ATC videos. And no, I'm not going to jump into the pool right behind me, so let's get started.
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I am certain that many of you have seen movies in which pilots use the phrase Roger or Roger that, or even Wilco when communicating with ATC. But have you ever thought about as to why? Now, the reason goes way back to some of the very first flights ever. The pilots heavily rely on the support from staff on the ground when flying, but 1903, when the first plane was flown by the Wright brothers, there was no such thing as radio communication. And at the time, the only means of communication was with flares and large bonfires for en route navigation, and hand signals and colored paddles to signal the pilot of runway conditions or closures, etc. Thankfully, technology advanced over the years and pilots began to use Morse code to communicate. So in 1915, air-to-ground coded voice transmissions became possible. So as radio transmissions operator broadcasted a clearance to a pilot, the pilot only had to confirm the clearance or message by sending out this code. A short tap, a long tap, and another short one. That's the Morse code for the letter R, which at the time meant received. After all, pilots in those early planes had enough on their plates just staying airborne, so they certainly didn't have the time to tap out a long sentence. A few years later, when communication became more advanced, to two-way radio communication, which, by the way, is still used until today, pilots carried on using the letter R to confirm a message, but some of them started using the word Roger instead of replying with the correct word received. So in 1927, the International Telegraph Union came up with the initial phonetic alphabet and decided that Roger was an easier command than received, as not all pilots spoke good enough English and were struggling with the language barrier. So from that point on, Roger became well used as part of the international aviation language. And one of the reasons you very often then hear pilots use it in old war movies. But officially, Roger didn't last very long. 30 years later, in 1956, a new, more modern phonetic alphabet was introduced, and Roger got killed by Romeo, no pun intended. My assumption that they've changed it to Romeo is because there was no need for Roger/received anymore, because nowadays pilots have to fully read back the clearance given by the controller, and by just saying Roger is no verification for the controller that you fully got his message and potentially forgot something. But Roger will always be around, as it is commonly used for quick responses by ATC or pilots after a message which doesn't require a readback.
At 594, the previous departure had something wrong with his engine. I'm not sure if you want to go around or if you want to continue the approach.
United 594, stand by. I tell you what, for 594, yeah, why don't we just set us up in a different pattern here for the south side.
594, Roger, go around, flight runway heading, maintain 4,000.
Okay, we'll go around, runway heading 4,000, yeah, 594.
And Roger's little brother is Wilco, which I personally maybe have used twice in my entire career, and you very rarely hear it on the ATC. Funny enough, it's actually just a very simple abbreviation. Wilco stands for will comply. Again, the reason why it's not used as much is that you are complying to a given message, which you most likely have to read back anyways.
Scanner 1049, when ready, descend to altitude 3,000 feet, connect 1003.
Confirm 3,000 feet, 1003, scanner 1049.
From 3,000 feet, then proceed direct Papa Alpha 950, then report field in sight.
3,000 feet, 1003, and Lima Papa Alpha 950, Wilco, scanner 1049.
But there are countless rumors about Roger and Wilco. Some people say there actually was a pilot named Roger that nay, who accidentally introduced it, and others struggled with the pronunciation of affirmative and said Roger or Roger that instead, and many more really great stories. The best one I've personally heard, and I really like this one, military pilots were or are still very fond of responding with Roger, as they also see it as an abbreviation. Received, order given, expect results. Fantastic. By the way, if you are questioning where I am right now, lovely greetings from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. If you ever have the chance to come to Vietnam, go for it. It is absolutely amazing. A few updates I want to mention. On your request, I have launched my merchandise store with cool Captain Joe t-shirts. Definitely check it out. The link is in the description box below. If you want to hear more about my layover here in Vietnam, for example, or get more background details regarding my videos, sign up for my newsletter, sending out one every week, and it is packed with really cool stuff. And my website got a massive overhaul. Go and say hi to that as well. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. Hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you won't miss out upcoming videos. And don't forget, a good pilot is always learning. See you next week. Wishing you all the best. Your Captain Joe.